All right, everyone. Our next speaker is Lani Glancy. I'm going to go ahead and get her spotlighted here. Hi, Lani. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I am well. I am well. Excited to have you on. Lani Glancy is the former Vice President of Talent Development and DEI at AutoZone. She is now retired. Lani, do you want to give us a self-introduction as I get everything prepared for you over here?
Absolutely, that will be great. It actually goes into kind of how we're going to kick this thing off anyway. So, first of all, thank you guys so much for allowing me to be part of this wonderful program. What I'm going to be talking about completely connects and it's very interesting. We didn't plan this. It connects to Kathy's conversation. So if you have a piece of paper, please go ahead and take it out. If you prefer digital, put it out, but just be ready to use it because we're going to talk about you and how you can uncover your own hidden treasures. And I have recently retired, so I got to put that retirement thing out there. But in the process of being retired for three months now, I took some time. And one of the things that I did in taking time for myself was I spent a lot of time understanding who I am. Yes, I've taken assessments before, but taking an assessment of myself today versus taking it when I was 40 years old is kind of really different. We change over years, right? Mm-hmm. So right now, today, I am a seeker. I'm in transition. I spent 30 years with the same company after holding 8 unique roles in different departments. I started as a temp in IT, as a technical writer, and my most recent role, the one I retired from, was as Vice President of Talent Development and Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, where I was responsible for almost 100,000 employees. So when I decided to retire from all of this, I wanted to understand what my purpose was going to be in retirement. Because you would think, well, okay, you decided to retire, you decide to have that opportunity to just kick back and do nothing. But I am not a do nothing person. I am just not. I can't be. I tried. I really tried. It took me a whole week to realize I needed something to do. So now I'm working on transitioning to a new headspace, to new routines, to new everything. It's already been a heck of a ride. It's been a lot of fun. It's been scary. It's been a treasure hunt. And right now, as I'm finding those hidden treasures that my life has brought me, it's brought me joy. It's created value. And now I'm in this place of transition. And I'm trying to understand and hopefully help you all understand how to bring together your why, your purpose, how to create joy and uncover that joy that is part of our lives when we just take a little bit of time. Take a little bit of time to unlock through our experiences and our learnings what those hidden treasures are that can help us evolve as people, as women, as professionals into our own lives. Let's go to the first slide, please. Something else to know about me and that Kathy talked about is I'm a pleaser, but I'm also a hyperachiever. So back to that 7-day retreat. Yeah, I learned from that 7-day retreat that I took that you're never too old to do something you've never done in your life and to explore what matters now, because what matters now may and is different than what mattered yesterday or a year ago. Life is really fleeting. So much goes by in our lives that's unremarked and unremarkable. But what can we learn from those things? When we give ourselves the time and the space to think, what have I learned today? What am I supposed to be doing? Why does this affect me now when it didn't affect me a year ago? When we give ourselves time and space to think, we can discover levers and tools to support our next steps and choices. So here's where the writing happens. What makes you strong and powerful and capable? Write it down. What diminishes us as professionals, as parents, as partners, as spouses, as individuals? Understanding what makes us powerful and what also diminishes us allows us to learn, to adapt, to choose, and to guide ourselves to the life we want to live. Next slide, please. For the past 40 years, my days were filled from morning to night with activity. And for the past 3 months, as I mentioned, I've had space to think about life and its parts. Here's one recommendation. Don't wait until you retire to give yourself space to think. Block that time now so you're prepared to make choices that will support you, that will support the 5 pillars of wellness: physical wellness, financial wellness, emotional wellness, mental wellness, and spiritual wellness. I call these the pillars of my hidden treasures. When they're all in balance, life is amazing. I can find my joy. I know exactly where I'm going and what I'm doing and how I'm going to get there. And when they're out of balance, when I'm not feeling well, when my financial planner is kind of out on vacation and I have a question, when I'm a little lost because I retired and I don't know what's tomorrow, when those are off balance, it's difficult for me to exude the joy that I feel just in living. When the 5 pillars are in balance, you become the very best version of yourself. This was a hidden treasure that was part of what I learned when I was on retreat. And oh, by the way, Pilates and yoga are fun. I didn't know that either. So I want to get to some definitions to make sure we're in the same lane for the rest of this conversation. Let's talk about joy. Yes, I'm going to be an English teacher for a minute. Let's talk about joy. Joy is a feeling of great pleasure and happiness. It's internal. It's inside of ourselves. What is your joy? Happiness is fleeting. It's temporary. But joy can connect us through our whole lives. Culture. It's the set of shared attitudes, values, goals, and practices that characterizes an institutional organization. Do you know your company's culture? For people, individuals, culture translates into purpose. What's your purpose in living in your life? Why are you here? We have roles we play: mother, daughter, vice president, individual contributor. But what are the attitudes, the goals, the practices that you demonstrate every day that make you you? What's your purpose? Value. Something, a principle, a quality that's intrinsically valuable, something that's desirable, something you want, something that we see is going to be a contribution to the life we're living. And then failure. Failure, first of all, know that failure is a noun. There's no emotion attached to it. And it really is simply a lack of success. So when we fail, we just didn't get something right. But you know what? That's okay. It's neither good nor bad. It's just we failed. Or whatever it was that we had planned. It just didn't work. Neither good nor bad. It just is. It's a noun. Treat it as such. It's not a catastrophe, and it's not your life is over. It's a noun. So let's go on to the next slide. Back to joy. As I said, joy is an inner feeling. Happiness is the outward expression of that. Joy lets us live life. It endures hardship. It endures trials, but it helps us connect meaning and purpose together to find the things that drive us, that nurture our spirit, that create emotional wellness for us. A person pursues happiness, but chooses joy. How many times in your life have you had this opportunity to say, well, I could be really happy going to go get an ice cream cone or have that last piece of Valentine's candy. But instead, I'm going to stick to that plan I laid out at the beginning of the year, the promise I made to myself to lose that 20 pounds by my vacation on Memorial Day. I'm choosing joy. It's all about the life experiences. It's that spark that drives us. Again, back to the piece of paper or the iPad. Write down right now, a couple words, 10 words, doesn't matter. What brings you joy? Some of these pictures show what brings me joy. My granddaughter. That's my wallpaper. Creating. So I created a Christmas stocking for my granddaughter this year. What you see in that center with the little red dress, that's some of the needlework that I did for that. It gave me great inner just joy that I continue to tap into every day. Like I look at that and go, I can't believe I did that. What also brings me joy is process. I like to see how things kind of work. And that's what you see in that little board on the right side, right? Getting people engaged in understanding how a process might start or stop and what we can do to make something move together better or change. Another thing that brings me joy is developing talent. So the picture below with all the people, that's the last cohort that I got to be part of and to guide for the AutoZone Leadership Academy, creating leaders for the organization who will continue to rise within the organization from director to vice president and hopefully beyond. Developing talent brings me great joy. Also, what brings me joy is beauty, right? So I got to grow my very first amaryllis at Christmas this year. What brings you joy? These are the things that by understanding the things that bring joy, they are in my head and my heart, and I get to make choices from these things about how I'm going to live my life and what's next and how the transitions in life are going to occur for me so I can keep the joy going. So hopefully by now, as I've been talking, you've written down what brings you joy. Now, what I'd like you to do is just kind of put it away. I want you to put it away. And in a week from now, 7 days from now, I want you to go bring that list back. I want you to look at it. What brings you joy? Allow it to ebb and flow in your life. But always allow it to be that spark, that current that is there. And that list will change. So you bring it out in a week and you look at it and you say, Yep, that's still those things. It'll help you make choices. And then take it out, that same list, a month from now. And then a year from now. Add to it, change it. Keep up with it. So you remember when things aren't going exactly the way you wanted them to go. that, oh yeah, I'm living a joyful life. I'm enjoying the ride. Let's go to the next slide. So transitioning here a little bit, hindsight is 2020. Had I known at the age of 40 what I know now, and I had brown hair at 40, and now you can see I don't, I could have streamlined some things. First, knowing my values and setting the right goals. That would have been very helpful. In 1992, 30 years ago, I had the good fortune to join an incredible company. It's AutoZone. They sell auto parts. I have a car. It was a great match. Yeah, sort of, kind of. But as an IT technical writer, starting from nothing and having the opportunity to just learn about how companies grew, it really did turn out to be a great match. And on my first day, I learned the cheer and the pledge. So the pledge is what employees for AutoZone, they call them AutoZoners. It's what they commit to do when they join the company. And 30 years later, still, every new AutoZoner, including the company's new executives, they start their career the same way, learning the cheer and the pledge. AutoZoners always put customers first. We know our parts and products. Our stores look great. We got the best merchandise at the right price. Gosh, can you imagine 100,000 people doing that from their first day? And the practice within the organization is when 5 or more people get together for a meeting, they start with the cheer and the pledge. And then they read an extra miler story, which is a story about how an individual lived the company's values and demonstrated the company's values. And so there's that constant reminder. But culture, it's a practice. It's not a project or program. So for AutoZone, they've created a secret sauce, a hidden treasure that allows them to tap into how they want their people, their employees to behave, and how they want them to treat customers. For people, for me, culture translates into purpose. What is my purpose? Purpose is not a project. It's what I expect of myself. It's what I measure myself against. It's my call to action, just like culture is for an organization. So in your life, with authenticity, have you thought about your personal culture, how you characterize yourself, what your expectations are, how you measure your success, how you define your purpose? Is it simple and easy? Can you articulate, what am I supposed to be doing? Have you heard the saying, if you don't know where you're going, any path will take you there? Well, sometimes those paths are really, really long. I was in the same role for 13 years and I couldn't understand why. Why can't I go and rise and go do something else? Well, sometime during that 13 years of being in the same role, I lost my sense of purpose. What you see on the slide is what my purpose is. My purpose is to serve others, to create value, to achieve stability. At some point within that 13 years, I wasn't achieving stability because my life had fallen apart. It really had. And it took me 3 years to put it back together again before I could continue my career path and goals. I was really fortunate. I had lots of wonderful people and coaches and mentors that said, you can do this. We believe in you. We trust you. You get back on that ride and you go. You find your joy so you can give that to others. By defining your purpose, you can then understand how you personally measure success and then choose your path to confidence, to be able to leverage your strengths and to create joy. I know it sounds really simple when I say it, but it's hard. It's hard. But you can do it. You should do it. And at that 7-day retreat, after working for 40 years, I actually wrote it down, and that's what's on this page. Please don't wait that long. It can really be your guide to the choices you're going to make for the rest of your career. Let's go to the next slide. Let's talk about values. So if you have your purpose, you know why you're doing what you're doing, then understanding how you're going to do those things, the basis of your behaviors, is that next part. So in business, I got to go back to AutoZone because it's what I know. You learn from what you know. AutoZoners learn how to operate, the behaviors they're supposed to follow. They learn that through their 6 values. An AutoZoner always puts customers first, cares about people, strives for exceptional performance, energizes others, embraces diversity, and helps teams succeed. There's nothing in there about AutoZone is giving money back to shareholders. There's nothing in there about the company will. It's about the individual, how the individual behaves, how they will operate. My personal values are also shown on this slide. Authenticity. What you see is what you get, folks. This is me. Hello, how are you? Humility. I really believe in continuous learning, never good enough. Goes back to those core values, those core beliefs of making sure that we're making others happy. Courage. It takes courage to live life, don't you think? I think so. It takes courage to make decisions, the hard ones, and sometimes the easy ones. Resilience, standing back up again, and dependability. Same piece of paper. You have joy, the things that bring you joy. What are your values? How do you operate? What matters about how you operate? One of the things about understanding your company's values that is very important, because if you also understand your own values, when those values all align, life is so much easier. It is so much easier because the values of your company, for example, in AutoZone, caring about people, energizing others, helping teams succeed, those lined up really, really well for me when I'm really focused on things like authenticity and dependability and being a people pleaser and also being a high achiever. How did it, specifically in my job, the way they lined up was, since AutoZone was so people focused, when I wanted to make a business case for training, the values of putting caring about people, striving for exceptional performance, and helping teams succeed lined up perfectly with what I wanted to accomplish in taking care of people and being an authentic leader. So think about how you operate and what it took to get to where you are. What are your values? How do you operate? It's really important because as a leader, as you continue to grow, you'll continue to fall back on those personal values that you have and compare them to the business values. And when they don't align, you're going to find that things are harder. And it's important to think about, where is the misalignment and what am I going to do about it? What can I do about it? Who am I going to engage? What are your values? Let's go to the next slide. I love this slide because that's my motorcycle. So that's why I love this line. But I want to ask you about what happens to you. And I want you to put this in the chat. So everybody bring their chat up. What happens to you emotionally and mentally when something doesn't go well, when a project isn't delivered on time, when the KPIs aren't met, when you can't make it to your child's game and you promised? Put it in the chat. How do you feel? How do you feel? We stress, we beat ourselves up, we call ourselves names, we can feel small, you feel less successful. But what if you turn the word failure into opportunity? Yeah, disappointed and angered. You feel defeated. Oh my goodness, yes, absolutely right. But let's talk about taking that word failure, which is really emotionally heavy, and turn it into this opportunity. It's what we do with the failure, what we learn from the failure. Thank you. Exactly. That gives us the most strength. It creates the resilience we need to go forward. In business, there's a word taken from the Japanese called kaizen. It's translated into good change. It really describes the process of continuous improvement, but it also works in life, right? If we are going to overcome failure and turn failure into opportunity, we have to find opportunities to continuously improve. So let's talk about my motorcycle. When I got my motorcycle in 2010, I was also the first one in class to drop it. Yes. So I was on the motorcycle and it fell down. And the thing weighs 700 to 800 pounds. So how do you stand a motorcycle back up? Well, I was sitting there waiting for somebody to come help. And guess what? Everybody's riding their motorcycles, nobody helped. So somebody showed me how to stand that motorcycle back up, 700 pounds of motorcycle, so that I could get back on it. I learned to use my legs, my triceps, believe it or not, I have them, and my back. I checked out my motorcycle. I made sure it still ran, it was worthy, and I got back on the bike. I learned how to ride that motorcycle. I learned how to take the angles. I learned more about physics. I did. So that if I dropped it again, and I did, it would be in a different place at a different time with a different situation, but the motorcycle still weighed 700 pounds, and I still had to pick it up. Am I good at riding a motorcycle? No, not particularly, but I'm getting better and it's staying upright. And guess what? I'm enjoying the ride. Because what is life? What's life for? It's for living. It's for enjoying the ride. And when you think about business, you think about continuous improvement and kaizen, how do you respond to failure? Do we implode as a team, or is it an opportunity to teach the team, to learn as a group, to go back into the project, figure out what went wrong, and then pick it back up and move it forward? When you get on the bike and you look for the areas where you and your team can improve to do things a bit better than before, the entire team wins, and it fits your values and it continues to feed your joy. Let's go to the last slide. So here's the deal, folks. What are your hidden treasures? What brings you joy? What is your purpose? What are your values? And do you see failure as opportunity or just a way to beat yourself down and make your team feel bad because you just didn't get it right? Do you learn from doing? Do you continuously improve? If you say yes, that's awesome. That's a hidden treasure in your life. And a final note. So I finished my career at AutoZone as vice president, as I mentioned, of talent development and diversity, equity, and inclusion. And the way I got that role was I said yes. If someone recommends you for something you've never done before, say yes. Trust is really hard. I mentioned that at the beginning. But the person who recommended you for that role knows that you have what it takes, or they wouldn't have asked, because it's their reputation on the line. And at a minimum, you have a safety net in them because they want to help you succeed and see that you're there. So often our own lack of confidence stops our momentum, and it goes contrary to our values of creating, of being able to build stability. So when somebody says, can you just say yes and trust that you'll be able to get it done because you're not alone. Find your hidden treasures. Identify your joy. Define your purpose. Understand your values. And most importantly at all, enjoy the ride. Thanks so much. I'm going to put my email address in the chat. I'm happy to help any of you as you're navigating this really complex world, because probably in many cases, I've been there, I've done that. So I'm here for you. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, what a wonderful presentation, Lani. That was beautiful. I definitely have tons of notes over here. Man, that was so good. That was so good. Yes, please put your email in the chat. I know that we went over just a little bit, but and so what I want to do is transition to the panel. But if you all have any questions, please feel free to email Lani those questions.